Everybody, welcome back. This is Shane. Over the weekend we saw that El Salvador, the president out there announced that their country will be taking Bitcoin as legal tender, which has a lot of ramifications. Today's Tuesday, the 8th of September or June. There was a clarification, meaning that they weren't going to give up on the dollar. They're still going to use the dollar, but they're also going to recognize Bitcoin as legal tender. So they'll be using both, or actually they'll be using the colon, which is their currency that they print, the US dollar, and Bitcoin as legal tender. So they'll be using three different currencies, which I suppose could be maybe a little bit confusing, but in any case, so after he made his announcement over at Bitcoin 2021, another government official in Paraguay, announced that they'll be looking into doing the same thing, doing something with Bitcoin and perhaps even Brazil. And today I saw a Mexican politician announced the same thing for Mexico. So it's looking more and more like Latin America is going to be leading the way in terms of making Bitcoin a currency, a legal tender, which they say that is going to have some implications for other countries in terms of having to reciprocate through international trade laws, perhaps, or commerce laws. And so we're looking at Bitcoin through some sort of backdoor way becoming legal tender in the United States as well, which is going to be pretty interesting, pretty cool. Be interesting to see if it's still considered at that point something that is property and would be taxed as capital gains, or if it will actually turn into a legal tender, into a currency. That'll be pretty cool to see the legal ramifications. So if it had been just El Salvador, I think probably we might have seen economic hitmen hit the country and try to break them, or we might even have seen some black ops out there, get rid of the president, or do some nasty stuff to overthrow the government and put in a new government. But since it has expanded beyond one government and now multiple government officials from different countries are looking at it, I am thinking that perhaps Latin America in general may lead the way for Bitcoin to be a global reserve currency, which will it moves the timeline forward considerably. But I think that Latin America in general is primed and actually probably the perfect place for this to happen, because it is composed of so many smaller countries that are struggling, and a lot of their trouble is that they are so close to the United States, and they rely on the United States tremendously, or at least with the dollar. I think Panama was another one. Panama uses the dollar as their reserve currency, as well as Ecuador, I think, uses the dollar as a reserve, not the reserve, but as a national currency as well. So the problem for them is that they are at the mercy of the United States Federal Reserve. So that's not a cool thing for them, because they don't get a vote. They don't get to say anything. They don't get a say in the way that the Fed does anything, or what the government does as far as printing out trillions of dollars. So it puts them in a bad spot. And so I think by switching to Bitcoin, they insulate themselves from a lot of the downside of poor economic management on our part. So if things work out the way I think they're going to work out, it may turn out then that Latin America may turn things around. I mean, part of their problem has been those economic hitmen that have saddled them with so much debt and taking a lot of their resources. But Bitcoin itself, I mean, that's not something that can be stolen so easily, or I think people are going to be more wary about giving up their Bitcoin than they would be about giving up, acres and acres of forest or petroleum or things like that, because those things aren't cheap to get out. Like petroleum's not cheap to get out of the ground. Acres and acres of forest are not cheap to develop, and, so you need investment. But Bitcoin, you can accumulate just by going about your business. Just selling things, buying things. Just doing your day-to-day commerce, you can accumulate Bitcoin, no problem. And so that's a resource that will probably enrich Latin America overall and put them on par with other nations in the world. So that's what's got my interest at the moment. I've been watching this in the news, and it's fascinating to watch. But I thought I'd kind of point out some of these thoughts that I'm having regarding these developments with Bitcoin over the weekend. I'll keep an eye on it, but I mean, I don't have any. I don't do research. I don't do heavy analysis. I'm just kind of viewing the headlines and the stories and kind of forming an opinion on it. I probably should be better informed about these things, but we'll I don't know. We'll just see what happens in the coming months. I think, like I said, the timeline has moved up, and it's going to be fascinating to watch how far things go before the end of 2021. Right. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you soon.